You know how it is, you're curious. You want to really understand something properly without spending ages reading up yourself.
Right.
That's what we do here. Today, we're diving into a piece of culture that's really stuck with people for, decades now.
Yeah.
And we want to unpack what made it potent then, and maybe what makes it surprisingly relevant for you right now.
Exactly. You've brought the curiosity, and we've done the homework. Today, it's all about the 1973 science fiction film, Soylent Green.
Directed by Richard Fleischer.
Yep. Starring Charlton Heston, and in his final role, the amazing Edward G. Robinson.
Wow. A real touchstone for a lot of folks, isn't it?
Definitely.
So for this deep dive, we're looking at a pretty detailed synopsis and quite a thoughtful review of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission really is to get under the skin of this movie, explore the sharp commentary it had on, well, some big societal issues.
Issues that, as you might find, are still kind of knocking around today.
So let's set the scene. Picture New York City, but not like you know it. It's 2022 in the film.
Yeah, and our sources describe this city just bursting.
Yeah.
Overpopulated, choking on pollution, climate collapse is happening.
Resources almost gone.
Right. You've got this tiny elite living it up in luxury towers, eating like real food, steak, jam.
While everyone else is basically surviving on these processed wafers made by the Soylent Corporation.
Soylent Red, Soylent Yellow, and the newest one, the one everyone wants, Soylent Green.
And smack bang in the middle of all this, you've got Charlton Heston as Detective Frank Thorn.
He's investigating a murder.
Yeah.
A rich Soylent executive.
Exactly. And through this case, he starts uncovering this absolutely massive secret, something that changes everything about how humanity is surviving.
But he's not alone in this, is he? There's his roommate, Saul Roth.
Played by Edward G. Robinson. An incredible performance.
Yeah, Saul's crucial for you to understand. He's older. A book, they call him. Someone who actually remembers the world before. The real world.
And he's key in helping Thorn figure out the awful truth.
It starts like a detective story, that framework. But the world, it shows you. That's where Soylent Green really hits home, even now.
Okay, so let's unpack that overall feeling, the impact it has on you.
Right.
The review we looked at really nails this, calling it a mix of like classic noir detective stuff and really unsettling sci-fi.
It's got this grimy, sticky, suffocating feel, doesn't it?
Yeah, and watching it today, almost 50 years later, it feels weirdly prescient when you think about some things happening now.
Yeah. What's really interesting for you is how the murder plot isn't just a plot. It's the way the film show you how broken everything is.
The systems, the ethics, or lack thereof.
The moral decay, yeah. It's all woven into Thorn's investigation.
Yeah.
As you watch, you see the real horror isn't just the murder, it's the whole world.
And the tone, wow, it's just relentlessly bleak.
Absolutely.
Even the action scenes, they don't feel like fun action. They just add to the despair, the feeling that everything's just awful.
And that bleakness, if you connect it to the famous ending, it's why that twist lands so hard. It's not just shock value. It's the payoff for all this sadness and desperation the film builds up for you.
Exactly. The review called it a cry of anguish over ecological collapse and human apathy, just disguised as a thriller.
Nice phrasing.
And you don't feel that anguish fully until that last piece clicks into place for Thorn and for you.
Which brings us to the characters trying to navigate this nightmare. Heston as Thorn. He's not exactly Captain America, is he?
Definitely not. The review points out he's actually pretty low-key. Cynical cop, you know?
Yeah.
Willing to bend rules, steals from crime scenes.
Just surviving.
Yeah, not driven by justice initially. But he's got this grit, and you see him change, slowly, painfully as he learns more. It's a gradual, devastating realization.
And contrasting him, you have Edward G. Robinson as Saul. What stands out about him for you?
Oh, just the sheer heartbreak. He has the link to the past. You remember strawberries, real trees. There's such tenderness there. And knowing it was his last film, that he was really sick, it just adds this incredible poignancy to his final scene, the assisted death scene.
The review calls it eerie and genuine emotional power. That feels right.
It really does. It stays with you.
And then Leigh Taylor-Young as Cheryl, called furniture in the film, part of the apartment for the rich tenant.
Yeah, it's grim. She shows a flicker of humanity in that luxury prison, but she's just as trapped, really. It makes you think about different kinds of cages.
And briefly, you've got folks like Chuck Connors, Joseph Cotten, representing the wealthy, the complicit ones.
Right, they sort of embody the moral rot at the top.
So if you look at all these characters, the film isn't really about good versus evil, is it?
No, not in a simple way.
It's more about people being crushed by these huge, broken systems. Which again might make you pause and think about forces in our own world. It's a different kind of struggle.
Absolutely. So how does the film look? How do they bring this grim future to life for you visually?
Well, the review praises Richard Fleischer's direction for its grim efficiency. That sounds about right.
Yeah, it's tight, claustrophobic, very urban. It puts you in that sweaty, overcrowded space.
And what's clever is how real it feels. They used actual New York locations, but just layered them with decay. Urban rot, the review calls it.
It's not shiny sci-fi. It feels disturbingly plausible, which makes you consider where our cities might be heading.
Definitely.
And that scene with the riot scoops.
Oh, yeah. Hunt.
These huge bulldozers just scooping up starving people like trash.
Yep.
The review rightly calls it one of dystopian cinema's most visceral images. It's brutal. It makes you really confront the desperation.
It's also the smaller things, isn't it? The review mentions how the future is shown through subtle changes to familiar things. That makes the horror feel closer somehow. Like it's just around the corner for you.
Exactly. The whole visual world is just oppressive. Brown tones dominate. Everyone's sweating. Everything's scarce.
Yeah.
A spoonful of strawberry jam is like gold. People kill for it.
Right.
Makes you appreciate, your own pantry.
Huh. True. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. What about the sound, the score, the sound design? How does that add to the feeling for you?
Fred Myro's score. The review points out how it blends orchestral drama with this unsettling dissonance, this melancholy.
It's not heroic music.
Not at all. It keeps you on edge, perfectly matching the visuals.
And that going home scene, Saul's euthanasia. The review highlights the contrast. This deeply tragic moment set to beautiful classical music and these images of nature he's seeing.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. A reminder of all the beauty that's gone. Like a dream escaped from the horrible reality. Makes you think about memory and beauty, even in dark times. Elegantly tragic, the review says. Perfect description.
It really is. And beyond the score, it's the use of sound itself,
Right.
Silence, but also the constant background hum of the overcrowded city.
Snippets of conversations you overhear.
It creates this claustrophobic soundscape. You feel how packed and desperate that world is.
So pulling all these threads together, what are the core themes, the big messages Soylent Green leaves you with?
Oh, the review lays them out pretty starkly. It's a bleak prophecy, really.
Yeah.
Tackles climate change head on, this overheated, infertile Earth.
Overpopulation squeezing everyone into cities. Corporate control, especially over food, when nobody even knows what's in Soylent Green.
And that massive, brutal class divide. Rich versus poor, taken to an extreme.
Yeah.
All things for you to chew on, unfortunately.
And there's that theme of memory, nostalgia, mostly through Saul.
Yeah, his pain isn't just physical. It's this deep ache for the lost beauty of the natural world. It adds such a poignant layer for you.
And maybe the most disturbing thing, the review mentions this feeling of resignation. It's not a film about fighting back.
No, it's about knowing the awful truth and being utterly powerless. That feels chillingly relevant when you think about huge global problems today.
Definitely. And now, no film is perfect. The review does touch on some criticisms people have had over the years. What stood out?
Well, one thing is that the exposition, especially early on, it kind of has to dump a lot of information on you to set up this world. Can feel a bit heavy-handed.
Sure. And maybe Heston's performance, some find it carries that macho baggage of the era, especially with Cheryl's character.
Yeah, it's a product of its time. Might seem dated or a bit uncomfortable for you now.
Right. And then, obviously, the big twist ending.
Everyone knows it now.
Pretty much. It's hard for it to be a genuine shock for a first-time viewer today, but the review argues, and I think it's right, that even knowing it,
the emotional impact is still there because everything that leads up to it.
Exactly.
And finally, just the sheer grimness, the lack of hope, no real catharsis. Yeah. Some people find that tough to take.
Yeah, it can be draining for you as a viewer. But like the review says, maybe that relentless darkness is the point. It doesn't offer easy answers.
It's a strength, in a way.
So as we wrap up, what are the absolute highlights, the moments that make Soylent Green stick with you?
Edward G. Robinson's going home scene has to be number one. Gut-wrenching, transcendent, like the review said, just unforgettable for you.
And you have to mention the line, Soylent Green is people.
The line.
It's infamous, almost a punchline now, but in context, delivered by Heston with that horror, still incredibly powerful for you.
Those riot control scenes, too. The scoops.
Yeah.
Chillingly real, almost documentary-like in their horror, makes you think about social control.
Yeah. And for me, it's Thorn's whole journey, that slow burn from cynicism to understanding the full horror. It's a compelling arc for you to follow, even in all the bleakness.
So summing it all up,
Yeah.
what's the big takeaway for you from Soylent Green?
I think it's that the film is so much more than just its twist. It's this devastating prophetic vision of what could happen if we ignore the big issues. It's a warning, still relevant, wrapped in a thriller you can watch today.
Exactly. The aesthetics might look 70s, but the core warnings. Climate collapse, food insecurity, corporate power, prioritizing profit over people.
Sadly, those feel more relevant than ever for you now, don't they?
They really do. The film doesn't give answers, just this uncomfortable truth screamed out loud.
A truth the world then, and maybe even more now, might be too busy struggling to really hear.
So as we finish this deep dive for you, here's something to think about. Which parts of this 1973 vision of 2022 feel most real today? Are there echoes of this future already around you, maybe in subtle ways you hadn't noticed? And what can we actually learn, individually or as a society, from this incredibly bleak but definitely thought-provoking film?
Wow. Some heavy thoughts to leave you with. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive.